Sports Center in upstate New York. Over the years, all the greats have come here, from Roger DeCoster to Bob Hanna to Ricky Johnson. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain, along with David Bailey. I left out David Bailey. He's raced here, too, en route to his AMA National and AMA Supercross Championships. We come here with the Kawasaki's sort of headlining the story, and I'm wondering which of the two, Mike Kiedrowski or Mike LaRocco, you think is favored today?
Well, I think in the past few weeks, Kiedrowski has shown more speed, and that wasn't the case early in the series. And also, it's the guy that's going to want it a little more. And after last weekend, with Kiedrowski launching his bike into his teammate, he obviously wants it.
And he has the motivation of the points behind him. He's playing catch-up a little bit. Is there somebody else in this field who might be able to pull off the win today?
Well, we haven't seen it so far. I mean, up to around the 20-minute mark, other people have led, but I think this track is different. It's very rough. It's all natural, and Jeff Stanton has been recently nicknamed the king of Unadilla, so we might look for him to break in there.
Elaborate a little on the track conditions. They're different from when you raced here.
Well, when I raced here, the grass was sometimes up to the handlebars, and it took a couple of hours the day before the race to beat that down and find the good lines, and now the good lines are already exposed because they race amateurs here. Very rough already, and the rocks have already started to come up.
And that is a big pre-race story as we take a look at the layout of this historic old circuit.
Well, this is one of the last all-natural tracks. Other than Southwick, Massachusetts in the sand, this is as rough as they come.
And Art Ekman is standing by trackside with that big pre-race story produced by the rough track conditions. Art?
Unadilla is one of this sport's treasured traditions. All-stars have gained their reputations here. The terrain is all natural, no man-made sections on this track. It's fairly exclusive, used only twice a year. One of the big problems the riders are facing? Flying debris. I'm not talking just dust and dirt. I'm talking lethal-looking pellets. In practice, it was a rock to the throttle hand of title contender Mike Kiedrowski that became the story of the day.
First practice, I hit my finger pretty good. A rock hit it, and then the second practice, the big rock came down and hit my throttle hand finger. So, it's starting to swell up, and hopefully it'll be all right for the race.
The defending champion trying to win it again this year, so evenly matched with his teammate LaRocco. I got to think that's going to make a difference.
Well, judging from that swelling, it's got to be pretty painful, and just the vibration of the motorcycle itself's got to hurt.
We'll be back to see what's going to happen with Mike Kiedrowski after motivation today. Here is the man that everyone has to catch. This is Mike LaRocco, the current leader in the championship standings, the dominant force in the series thus far. Coming in, he leads Mike Kiedrowski by 11 points, but that is not the story. The story is with Art Ekman.
We see the empty grid. It was reserved for Mike Kiedrowski, and that injury in practice was much more serious than even Mike thought. With us is Roy Turner. Roy, what was the problem now?
Well, just in practice, Mike was following some other riders, and a big rock got thrown up, and it hit his throttle hand on the third finger in between the two knuckles. It shattered the bone in about 6 places. So basically, that's it for Mike for the series. He's out.
The whole series?
The whole series. That's an injury, basically. I mean, it's skin holding that together right now, that finger. So you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks probably before he's going to be able to be back on a bike.
Dave, we're just about ready for these machines to fire up without the defending champion.
Wow, what a story as we prepare to drop the gate on the first moto. That blows it wide open. That means that Mike LaRocco can hit the cruise control in terms of the championship. LaRocco's not inclined to do that because LaRocco's mind doesn't work that way. He didn't become the point leader by cruising, but the pressure is off as the gate goes down and the Unadilla National is underway. Charge to turn 1. Yamaha will get there first. It is Larry Brooks out front. He's got number 2 right alongside. That's Jeremy McGrath. Larry Ward has a good start. Jeff Stanton is among the front runners. He's number 5. Not a great start for the point leader, LaRocco, but that's not LaRocco laying back. That's just the way the season has gone for LaRocco. He doesn't get good starts.
Right, he's notorious for having to come from behind, and he's definitely going to do that today. The question is, can he stay out of the way of all these rocks that just took his teammate out of this?
These two teammates go 3 wide down the front straightaway as Stanton tried to move on McGrath, couldn't make it work. But we immediately see evidence of all the different opportunities here, all the different places you can go on this rough racetrack. There's Brooks, the leader, then McGrath, Stanton now up to 3rd, and Jimmy Button is a hot ticket right now. He is into 4th spot. Brooks definitely looking sharp, using the good start and making it work.
Well, he's ridden long enough. He's ridden here at Unadilla, quite a few times, and he knows where the good lines are. Question is, can he not worry about the pressure of these guys behind him and just ride his own race and continue to ride smooth and choose these good lines.
Brooks, of course, riding for that Nolene Sizzler team. We've talked a good bit about them this year. They had a good season, but you're right. He's got the big dogs behind him as McGrath, the Supercross champion, and Stanton, the three-time AMA national champion, come after him. We got a glimpse of LaRocco a couple of shots back, and he was just inside the top 10, a long way from the front as McGrath tries to challenge and make the pass. He's been inconsistent this year. He's had some great rides, but he hasn't won as many as he would like. He badly wants around Brooks, but Brooks is continuing to hold his own.
Sure is. He's doing a good job. There's a lot of room to pass out here, but Brooks is experienced enough to know just where to go to make it tougher for those guys to get around. Now, Stanton and McGrath here in a tight battle for themselves realize that the two guns that are been so hard to pass and try to win a race, there's only one out there, and he's clear back there behind him. So here's a great opportunity for one of them to pick up the moto win.
Exactly. They've spent most of the season chasing the green Kawasaki's, but now as Stanton takes a look on the outside and then knifes back to the inside, the Kawasaki Singular of the factory team in the back, and Mike Kudrowski on the sideline. Stanton wants that position and finally finds a way around. Went to the outside and took the spot from McGrath, and McGrath has no response. He wasn't able to get back underneath, and so now Jeff Stanton will go to work on Larry Brooks. He looked a long time for that combination of corners that finally worked for him.
Well, that's what's really neat about Unadilla. There's so many different lines, and you can go way wide, and it looks like you've given up a lot of room, but by the time it all figures out after the next couple of corners, you're right back in there, and a lot of times you can make a pass. Here he is again, looking on the outside. He's going to put him on the inside of the next corner, and it looks like he's got it.
And Brooks suddenly doesn't look as sharp as he did the first lap. Stanton made the pass, Stanton going faster, but I think part of that is Brooks slowing down.
Well, it's tough. I mean, Brooks he's trying to, ride his own race and find a comfortable pace, but these guys are going a little bit faster. That pushes him and makes him ride a little bit, uncomfortable, out of his comfort zone, and starting to show now.
He seems to be hitting bumps he wasn't hitting the previous time. I know it's a little tough to tell because there are bumps everywhere, but there are bumps and then there are bumps, and again, Brooks finds the worst of them. And by goes Jeremy McGrath to take over second spot. McGrath does not want to let Jeff Stanton get away. That would be the worst possible situation. He needs to be able to keep pace with the front runner as Stanton kicks the back wheel out, hooks it right, and Jeremy's right on his tail. And there goes Brooks way up to the outside. Was that intentional?
Oh, yeah. He took that line on the first lap. He almost hit the banners. Actually did hit the banners the first lap. You got to go all the way to the banners and sometimes beyond to try to find a smooth line out here.
Well, here's the picture that proves the point. On Brooks' right, Larry Ward goes off the racetrack, stays on the gas, uses the widest line out there. Is he going to get around? Yeah, he takes over third position. So I guess if you got to give up a spot, it's better to give it to your teammate than to somebody else. Brooks surrendering it, goes from first to fourth, and McGrath is on the ground. Jeremy McGrath. I think he may have crashed into a hay bale as he came up over the top of the hill. His chest protector straps are broken. He's going to tear that off and just throw it away and try to get back into the fray. That's a bad place to crash. A, you're going fast. B, when you fall down, nobody can see you on the other side.
Well, it's scary. I mean, he wants to get up and go as quick as he can, but he can't do that and keep an eye on who's coming after him. And I don't know. That's weird to see that hay bale out there in the middle of the track. He either clipped it or it was out there in front of him and he didn't see it. That's really unfortunate. He's pretty much out of the picture now.
Might be able to pick up something on the replay. You see the handlebars are all bent, front end twisted. McGrath will come back. Far right-hand side of your screen, really can't tell. It appears that maybe Jeremy hit the bale, and that's what sent it bouncing back into the racetrack. Nobody else hit it. He is obviously okay, but that's a hard lick. That's a fast piece of real estate right there.
Well, yeah, he hit the ground pretty hard. And, the way those bars are bent, I think that was part of his body that did that, and he's not going to be feeling too good the rest of this moto.
Up front, Stanton leads. Larry Ward is second. This is the race for third. Larry Brooks, the early front runner, had managed to regain a position with the crash by McGrath, but now he's in danger of losing that spot to 34, Jimmy Button, the Team Suzuki rider. Big, long, tall, lanky guy. Talk about motivated. This is his neck of the woods. He's from upstate New York, and the home fans cheer him on as Brooks makes another mistake. And Button moves into a possible podium position. Meanwhile, LaRocco has moved up to fifth. We'll be back with more. Unadilla, this is the battle for the lead. Jeff Stanton, King of Unadilla, a title he claimed a couple of years ago. Back on top in this, his farewell season. his pursuer, the long and lanky Larry Ward, the privateer Yamaha, and he is making a good race out of this. That is your interval first to second, and Ward has come through traffic to get to Stanton. He's got good speed.
Yeah, he's looking good out there. You know, he had to ride a lot of laps this morning just to get into the program. Possibly he's got some lines figured out, and you can see that he's not wanting to follow Jeff. Even if Jeff's in the best line, he's got to go somewhere else just to stay out of that roost.
He's picking good lines. He's gained on the leader. He could win a moto here today. He's been paying close attention to Team Yamaha. They've been paying close attention to him, and Ward is hoping that might lead to something in the future.
It definitely could. I know Yamaha, the team manager at Yamaha and all the people at Yamaha come around our truck a little more every week, and if we have a good race, they want to know exactly what I did to my bike. So I think we're definitely putting some input into the bigger factory teams, which in turn in the later days could help us out.
And of course, things have not been going well for Team Yamaha since David Bradshaw retired. Michael Craig replaced Bradshaw. He's been kind of up and down. He won a Supercross race. He's won well in some outdoor nationals, but has not been able to find consistent speed. The man who's found some speed right now is number 7, Mike LaRocco. He's challenging Brooks, who again makes a bobble, and basically LaRocco's just able to drive right by him and into 4th position. Again, the pressure is off of LaRocco because Kudrowski has broken his finger and is out of the race and probably out for the season. And the next man in line in terms of the championship is nearly 100 points back. It is LaRocco's title to win. The reigning champion is back from the hospital and standing by with Art Ekman.
Mike, the last time we saw this hand, you had ice on it, but let me know what you know now.
Yeah, we decided we better go to the hospital and get an x-ray on it to see if there was anything really bad with it. And sure enough, when I got there, we took the x-rays, and the doctor walked out and he said it is broken bad. And we could see that it was kind of, the rock had just kind of smashed the whole bone and kind of shattered it. So they said there's no way you can race. And even if you did want to race, you'd probably go about 2 laps, and that would be about all you could handle. Or, you know, the bones could even come through the skin, and then we'd have a big problem. So, you know, they told me your best bet would be just to stay off and, you know, get it all put back in place and, you know, get it fixed right now. So I'm sure I'll be out for a while, you know, a few races or even the rest of the year.
What a terrible break for Kudrowski and for the sport. He doesn't seem devastated by this.
Well, you know, he's a champion, and possibly he's just handling this really well. Or, you know, he's just relieved that this battle is finally over with, and now he can just, you know, watch TV and eat cake, and he doesn't have to worry about this points battle that's been going on since the season began.
It's just a constant, it's a possession, it's an obsession when you're in a title fight like he has been in, and now suddenly that fight is over. Of course, he would much rather have won it. Meanwhile, Larry Ward continues to impress. In the last chance qualifier, his engine died. He about didn't make it. Here's Art with an update.
Robert, what an incredible story so far, with Larry Ward having mechanical problems. He had to go to the last chance qualifier. He fell down, was in 14th or 16th spot, came back for a 3rd place to make this race, and now he's in 2nd.
Yeah, he was in a pretty much bad mood this afternoon. He's got something to prove right now, so I think he's going to get a good charge in and get the best finish he possibly could.
Well, obviously, from his comeback earlier in the last chance qualifier, he's ready to blitz it again.
He's out there charging about as hard as he can right now. By the looks of it, he's definitely putting in about 110%. I don't know what else to say. He's mad, he's angry, he's hungry.
I could add to the list of adjectives fast and determined, because he is working on the fastest guy in the business right now. As 2nd place man Larry Ward chases the race leader, Jeff Stanton. Behind him comes Jimmy Button, who also has a good charge going. And we got a glimpse of Mike LaRocco, the national point leader. Whoa, wait a minute. Jeremy McGrath has pulled into the pit area, the mechanic signaling area, for some attention. And I guess that's no surprise. He had that hard crash earlier. He's actually fallen all the way out of the points, so he stopped in, and Art Ekman is there to see what for.
Dave, Jeremy came in not just to get the handlebars realigned, but also he has a laceration, a pretty good one, right on his neck. It's a burn, actually, of the top layer of the skin. He wanted his crew to check that out, too, to make sure he shouldn't come in for some kind of medication. It looks like now he's fired up, though, and he's getting right back into the race under Skip Norfolk's instructions.
Is that going to be it, Skip? Or
Yeah, the front end's tweaked pretty bad. There's more damage than just the handlebars. So we're going to get back in there and try to pick apart and find out what's wrong, get it replaced so we can get out for the second moto.
Well, that's a smart decision, I think, because Jeremy wasn't going to get any points out of the first moto. And remember, the second moto is an all-new race with a whole new set of points, so he'll have a shot there. Here comes Mike LaRocco. He's working on Jimmy Button. This is for third place. And LaRocco has the speed, has the line, and has the position. He's a long way from the leaders, but he's definitely going fast.
Now, he's moving a lot faster everywhere. I've mentioned earlier in the series, if you could put a radar gun on this guy, he's going a mile an hour or two faster than everybody everywhere on the racetrack, and he's just chipping away time.
As a matter of fact, David Bailey tells me that this guy reminds him of an old teammate. Who? We'll find out when we come back with more of the Unadilla National. Unadilla, America has had a couple of minutes to wonder who are they talking about. Who does Mike LaRocco remind David Bailey of?
Well, he reminds me of Rick Johnson. And I first brought this up at Mount Morris, and there's a lot of reasons. His positioning, if you watch him right there, his head's over the handlebars. He's kind of got his back hunched. He sits kind of further back on the seat than most guys. You see he dangles his foot out there. He just looks like Rick Johnson. If you could suit him up in the same gear, you couldn't tell them apart.
I'll tell you another similarity. He goes very, very fast. He wins races, and he's about to win this championship. That's making some assumptions. It's a long way to the end. A lot of things can happen. But LaRocco's the leader in the points, and third on the racetrack as Stanton gets the back end way up off the ground. He's riding very well today. Nothing like getting back out front at Unadilla to pump you up.
Oh, he just came through the signaling area where his mechanic probably let him know that LaRocco's on the move.
Oh, you bet. Jeff Stanton's got a lot of fond memories of Unadilla.
Well, I guess the one that sticks in my head the most was in 1989, my first year on a Honda. Actually, Rick Johnson rode the 250 Grand Prix here, and they had a 125 support class. And I never rode a 125 before. Make a long story short, I raced a 125 that day. Missed practice, didn't get the practice, went right out there, raced it, and beat all the guys. So that was one of the most fun races I had here. But the year after that, I led every lap of every race here for a 250 Grand Prix. I believe I won it 3 times here.
All right, that's interesting that of all the great 250 and 500 rides, his fondest memory is the 125. Here is the battle for second and third. They're not far behind Stanton, as a matter of fact, and LaRocco's just flying after Larry Ward.
He tore up that hill on the rear wheel. I mean, he's just going so much faster than these guys. It'll be interesting to see if they can, put up any kind of a fight at all.
I didn't think he had time to catch the leaders. I mean, I thought he was going to be solid third, maybe second. No way he had a shot at winning it. He could win this thing.
Well, he definitely had time to make up. But then when you get a shot of these guys together, you can see the difference in speed. LaRocco's just going faster everywhere on the racetrack, and he's just chipping away. And now you can see how close he is to Stanton.
Yeah, that was a glimpse of Stanton, the leader. That wasn't a lapper. Ward is hanging on to Stanton. Ooh, and he about gets out of shape there. LaRocco has run them both down and will now try to charge all the way to the lead. And that's good to see. I mean, he's not a guy who will lay back despite the misfortune to his teammate today, despite the fact that he has that comfortable point lead. He's out there racing. He'll please the fans. He'll give everybody their money's worth, and most importantly, he'll try to win. That's what makes champions, and LaRocco's definitely one of the best. He's come after Ward. I don't think Ward's going to have any kind of response for this. LaRocco is clearly faster. In the background, you see this huge crowd. So much a part of the Unadilla story. They have flocked here for years, and today they're watching one of the great performances as Mike LaRocco closes in on Ward and prepares to try to win this race from Jeff Stanton. Here's the move. He's going to make the pass. We'll be back with more in a moment. Unadilla and Mike LaRocco on the charge has closed to the rear wheel of Jeff Stanton, and he wants that spot. Stanton is trying his hardest to keep him at bay.
Well, Stanton, he's got a lot of fans out here, and like I said before, I want to see this guy win a race before he's done racing, and this is a great opportunity. He doesn't want to let him by.
Catching Stanton is one thing, passing him another. That'll be a wide motorcycle, but we've already talked about the fact there are a lot of available lines for LaRocco to use.
Well, if he runs out of spot, he can just go a little wider and find another one. I mean, it doesn't look like he's really pressuring Jeff. He's just staying close enough, trying to make him nervous, and hopefully in the last couple of laps be able to put a pass on him.
time, which at one moment seemed to be the enemy of LaRocco when he was a long way back, has now become his ally. They're down into the thing called gravity cavity, out the other side, side by side, handlebar to handlebar into the corner. Stanton maintains the advantage for the moment, but LaRocco is right there. And this is going to be interesting. If they tangle handlebars, can you imagine what Roy Turner's thinking right now?
Yeah, he's holding his breath. He's like, Jeff, just stay out of my rider's way, you know. That was a smart move. And back in that corner, Jeff had the opportunity to get out of the berm and protect the inside line of the next corner. I mean, he's riding really smart right here.
This is good. And they're into lap traffic. That's probably going to be a factor here. You've not only got to worry about the flying rocks and the number of berms and the one you want to pick in each corner, but now they have these slower guys to deal with. This is it. LaRocco's got him. He moved to the inside, and Stanton took the outside line, and the inside was better, and Stanton has been relegated to second spot. LaRocco, with a remarkable charge from deep in the pack on the first lap, comes all the way to the lead. That is the mark of a champion, not laying back.
Well, it's really important for him here, realizing that his teammate got hurt in practice, a whole different scenario than a race situation. And, you know, if he doesn't just go ahead with his game plan and ride hard and let his problems be behind him, possibly the same type of thing could happen to him.
Oh, and Stanton got balked a little bit by a lapper right there. Exactly right. Race conditions and practice conditions are much, much different, and LaRocco doesn't want to change the game plan that's been working for him. Still, when you go that fast all day, you're bound to take a few chances.
Sure, these guys take chances every time they put on their riding gear. I mean, I don't want to make it sound dangerous, but that's a fact. You see there's something hanging off of Stanton's pipe. It's probably the pipe guard to protect it from rocks. I don't know if that's going to affect him or not.
Here's Jimmy Button. He is riding in fourth spot and is going to have a good finish here today for, again, the upstate fans who like him a whole lot. He's from Corning, New York, not far from Unadilla, and certainly the closest this circuit comes to his hometown. Here is Larry Ward, now all alone in third place, as up front the battle has stabilized for a moment. LaRocco the leader, and Stanton in that number 2 spot. This will be good for Ward, getting that podium finish. And again, no sign in this moto of Michael Craig, the factory Yamaha rider. He has been having problems with cramps and is way in the back. So difficulties today again for him. Brian Swink is your 5th place man to round out the top 5. He is the teammate to Jimmy Button, and so they're going to have a pretty good afternoon here with 4th and 5th, and looking for the opportunity to improve on that in moto number 2. A complete new 30-minute point-paying race to come. All of those who have had problems here in the first race will get a fresh opportunity and a clean sheet of paper right after the intermission break. Swink's going pretty fast. He also had to come through some traffic here today. He's always been aggressive, has trouble getting the consistency together.
Well, he's got a lot of momentum. I mean, he's choosing pretty good lines and all that, but he's quite a bit shorter than LaRocco, Stanton, and Larry Ward, and that's really I think it's hurting him. You know, he's getting kicked around a lot. This track makes you so tired, and he's still got another moto to go.
For LaRocco, the end is near. There is the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. Having started 10th on the first lap, Mike LaRocco has done what we've seen him do so many times this year, not just here in the Outdoor National Motocross Series, but earlier on ESPN and the Supercross Championship, getting bad starts, making up for it with great speed. That's been the story of his season.
Well, you know, a lot of riders that have started out getting bad starts. Bob Hanna was one, I was one, Rick Johnson. When we finally did get better starts, we were so much more clever than the other riders, able to pick lines and adjust, and a lot more versatile. And once you get the start, it makes their job so much easier.
So what's your advice to the young kid who's having trouble getting it off the gate? How do you learn to win the start?
Well, you just have to be patient and not try something different every single time. You just you stick with your game plan and you try something for a while, and if it doesn't work, then you start to make corrections.
No need for corrections at the moment for LaRocco, but Stanton would like to find a minor miracle. He has dropped well adrift of LaRocco now, and I think maybe the traffic had a lot to do with that. He doesn't seem to have given up on the chase. The traffic really slowed him down.
Well, he still looks like he's charging pretty good right through there, but he did drop way off the pace, and that's just unfortunate because no one's been able to really put a lot of pressure on LaRocco other than his teammate Kudrowski, and last week he pushed him into a mistake and he crashed.
LaRocco getting signals, looking back over his shoulder. He knows what the gap is and knows how hard he has to go to take it to the finish. He's pretty much on cruise control now. He's been blasting through that berm right there pretty aggressively the last couple of laps, and now he just kind of eased up to it, gave it a little nudge, and brings her to the checkered flag. Mike LaRocco, the man who would be champion of the 250 Outdoor National Series, wins again over Jeff Stanton, Larry Ward, Brian Swink, who passed Jimmy Button on the last lap to take 4th spot. Here's the rest of the top 10. Let's go trackside to Art Ekman.
Jeff, there's no better way to thank your fans than to be in a good position for a podium spot when this event is over with.
Well, I sure like to think so. Mike came from a long ways back and passed me and pretty much ran away, so I'll just go out there and give it my best.
You were out there for him to beat you, though. I mean, you put the challenge to everybody.
Well, I got a good start. I felt good. I just tried to ride my comfortable race. Got a little bit out of rhythm when I seen him coming, but let's race him.
Anything adjustment-wise for Moto number 2?
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit. There's a few little things we can do.
I noticed your pipe guard was coming off midway there.
Yeah, it came off and kind of was dangling there a little bit, but that was minor.
Good luck now.
Thanks.
All right, good to see Stanton with a big smile on his face. The only way to slow Mike LaRocco down is slow motion. Let's go to Art Ekman with the winner of Moto 1.
Well, Mike, you told me it was a good track to pass on, and you had to do a fair amount of passing there at the beginning.
Yeah, I messed up the start. I didn't have the R's up enough, and I didn't get out real good. So, I had some work cut out for me to make some passes. I took my time, without my teammate out there getting away. I had time to do that. So, I just rode my own race, used my head, and things worked out.
Of course, you got a lot of tradition, a lot of history riding in front of you there, number 5 to catch.
Yeah, I was wondering how good a race Jeff was going to run. I started off with a good pace, and, fortunately for me, he hasn't been running our pace all year, and it kind of gave me the confidence that I could catch him, and, sure enough, I did.
Any adjustments now for Moto 2, Mike?
Probably just work on getting a better start and have fun.
Now, winning is always fun. We'll be back to see who will win Moto number 2 after part of Moto number 2 at Unadilla. The bikes line the starting gate, the crowd on their feet anticipating the drop of that gate. And with that drop, we're underway. Charge is on to turn number 1. They narrow down into the funnel. Larry Brooks, number 31, has another great start. In fact, he's going to pull the lead on Jeff Stanton. Kyle Lewis got a good break. So did Tony Amaradio. And as they work through that first series of turns, it is a traffic jam in the back of the pack. There goes Stanton into the lead. And now, there's trouble. A big pile up, dog pile, in fact. And in the middle of it, number 16 is John Dowd, 3rd ranked in the championship points. A big setback for him as he tries to move around the injured Mike Kudrowski and into 2nd place. The battle for the lead belongs to Stanton. He is your leader. Number 31 in that 2nd spot. Larry Brooks, who had the good start in the first moto and quickly went backwards and appears perhaps destined to do that again. Lewis is the 3rd place man. There's Kyle, number 53, a glimpse of Amaradio, number 39, and also Mike LaRocco, who is already 5th. And that doesn't bode well for the rest of these guys. It wasn't the start he wanted, but it's a lot better than he got in the first moto.
Oh, it sure was. And you know what? Stanton has got to go like mad right here. I mean, the crowd would be ecstatic if he was able to pull off a victory here in his last ride at Unadilla, and he's got a great opportunity to do it with LaRocco buried in the pack.
Well, and with these guys using up the whole racetrack in an incredible battle of lines, look at that move. Up the inside, they go 3 wide, and moving into 2nd spot is going to be Lewis, and he did it the tricky way. He found a new line and just put it to work. Stanton trying to make a breakaway quickly, but the rest of them are coming at him. As you see the good look there at LaRocco. I don't know, he's back a ways, but given what he did in that first moto, I don't think he's back far enough to give any kind of a margin of safety to Jeff Stanton. You also got a glimpse of number 11, Larry Ward. He was 7th by my count. This is Brooks behind LaRocco. Brooks, who has led both races here today, has already fallen to 6th. So he definitely doesn't have things dialed and working like he would like. The Rick Johnson look-alike, Mike LaRocco, up the hill and in pursuit. Will he lay back, take his time to make the passes the same way he did in the first moto, or will he try to charge more quickly this time, do you think?
I think he'll just go with whatever's more comfortable. I mean, you remember the 125s have been out there. The track is, twice as rough as what he saw it last. So he'll try to get the lines figured out, and it'll all depend on how fast Stanton's able to get away. If he gets away quick, LaRocco will pick up the pace. If Stanton stays out there with it inside, he'll take his time.
And you mentioned the 125s. You can see the 2.5 class on the Deuce. The 125 racing is on ESPN2. This is a good race. It is for second spot. Kyle Lewis and Mike LaRocco mixing it up, rattling handlebars, testing each other. Lewis, the comparative newcomer. LaRocco, a former 500 class champion, trying to add the 250 division title to his resume. He's got the wheel up front. Down they come through gravity cavity, up and out the other side, and still too close to call. Give it to Kyle Lewis for the moment. And he knows who he's racing with. He figures if he's going to hold this guy back, he's going to have to do some miracles.
Well, he's pulling off some already. You know, he was able to go outside and take the line away from LaRocco. And LaRocco surely had that outside and the inside into the next corner. And Kyle did a good job taking it away. He's a good rider. He's been out there a long, long time. I've raced against Kyle, and he understands what to do to hold a guy back.
The thing that makes you a racer is believing that you can do it. The thing that makes you a racer's dad, boy, I don't know. It's got to be tough sometimes to watch the kid get out there and do his thing. That was Mike Sr. checking on the action as we now watch Button, number 34, and Ward, number 11. Now, together, these guys are 14 feet tall. They are the two tallest men in motocross, and they've hooked up here to battle for 5th and 6th. Ward sticks that big, long leg out there and tries to grab the position. You have a philosophy on the debate that dates back to your dad, who's well over 6 foot, and Mike Bell and some of the other long johns in this business over the years as to whether it's good to be tall or it's good to be short?
Well, it depends on the situation. I think here at Unadilla, I think it's an advantage to be a little taller. It's so rough. You've got to move your body around quite a bit, and you get a little more travel between your butt and the seat. So the bike can kick quite a ways before it actually kicks you in the body. You know, the shorter guys are going to have an advantage in muddy situations, sand, and in ruts.
Here's that battle for second spot. Give Lewis all the credit in the world because he's keeping LaRocco, another of the lanky guys in this business, at bay down through kind of that little sandy section. And then the berm blast, and you saw the roost right in LaRocco's face. That's one reason you want to get around the guy in front of you. Those rocks hurt. We saw what happened to Kudrowski. You talked about what it feels like.
Oh, you know, these things are coming off the rear wheel of the bike in front of you, depending on where you are on the course, 60, 70 miles an hour. Next time you go to the batting cages, just stand there and let one of those balls hit you, and you'll know how it feels.
No thanks. I'll pass. They do wear chest protectors and sometimes add some additional protection for a rocky circuit like Unadilla, although in the case of Kudrowski, he didn't add enough and didn't add it in the right places. Here they go to gravity cavity. LaRocco wants to make the move. He's up alongside and around. A great pass for Mike LaRocco, who picked one of the fastest spots on the racetrack. Take another look at it.
Well, as they come into the bottom here, you can see LaRocco uses the suspension to bounce the front wheel back up and carry it over the holes and keeps a little bit more momentum coming out of that gravity cavity there. It makes, ooh, big swap right there. There's so many ruts, and it could have been his rear wheel hit a rock and spun sideways like that. He did a nice job to correct it.
He quickly opened up the gap over Lewis once he got around. Here's the 4th place man, Ward, who has passed number 34, Jimmy Button, and Button will round out the top 5. Where Larry Brooks continues to go the wrong direction. Number 31 under attack from Brian Swink, who's closed up quickly and looks like he's going to make an easy pass on Brooks. We talk about LaRocco's problems, not being able to get the start but having the speed. Brooks can find the start here, but boy, he sure can't get the rhythm down.
Well, I've seen him ride a lot better. I mean, all three of these guys look tired to me right now. And, you know, it's just, he's probably wishing, gosh, why couldn't I get a start on a day when I'm riding a lot better and take advantage of it?
Yeah, be able to do something with it. For the moment, the story would be Swink and Button. They are teammates, very different in stature. We talked about that a moment ago. Button long and tall, and Swink short and stocky. Both very aggressive riders, and they've both been known to use up an awful lot of racetrack, been involved in their share of crashes over their careers. So when they get together, you start thinking, wow, look out for the fireworks.
Yeah, I think the Team Suzuki manager is probably holding his breath right now, making sure that after a decent first moto performance they both put in, that they can do the same again and not get in each other's way.
Well, they're highly motivated. They're able to pull away from Brooks. This is for 5th and 6th on the racetrack. Up front, LaRocco has begun to erode the lead of Jeff Stanton just a little bit. He's picking up maybe a half a second a lap here on Stanton, who had built a pretty good early lead. Number 34, Jimmy Button, battled another teammate, Ezra Lusk, for the 125 Supercross Championship, and they tangled a time or two. So the guy's not afraid to mix it up with a teammate, but I think the real point for him is that this 250 fits him and feels a lot more comfortable than the 125.
Well, he's running up front with some guys that are setting a fast pace, and he's, you know, he seems to be doing a good job of it. He looks a little tired here to me. I think he's not putting in, he's looking over, he knows Swink's coming. He's trying to do all he can to hold him back there. I think he looks tired.
Swink, on the other hand, is moving forward. Remember now, he's just passed Brooks and is going after his teammate, trying to pick up that one spot, and he's definitely looking for a pass. He's looking for another line here. He's up alongside, shows him the wheel, tries to cut back underneath. This is the Bryant. Oh, and he hit him. They collide. Number 10, Swink, bounced up over the berm, slammed into the side of Button, and Button may be hurt. He's pretty slow getting up. Well, yeah, he's hurting.
Yeah, he's disappointed in that. He's hurt too. I mean, his feelings are probably a little bit more hurt. You know, he cut Swink off in that left-hander just before that. He went out wide, and I think Swink was just a little irritated by it and said, "Here, take that."
Boy, I tell you what, he gave him a little body slam up the inside, and I guess you could describe the feeling as helpless, perhaps, for Button. There was nothing he could do to respond. He was holding his shoulder a little bit. Now he's up and on his feet. Let's see if he's going to make an effort to get back on that motorcycle and get back into it. He was highly motivated here today because the race is close to home. We go back up to the front of the field, and we find that LaRocco has suddenly closed. Not suddenly. This has been slow, steady progress up to Jeff Stanton. I was curious about that soundbite a bit ago when he talked about the pace and the fact that Stanton hadn't run that pace all year long. Describe for me the difference that a half-second a lap in pace can make. If you're the front-running guy and then suddenly they step it up by that much, what's it take to get back up there?
Well, you're going as fast as, oh, there he makes a pass right down the inside. As a nice, I think he caught Stanton by surprise. I mean, Stanton knew he was there, but I don't think he felt threatened already.
LaRocco didn't waste any time. The pace is blistering. LaRocco's setting it a half a second a lap.
Well, it makes a huge difference. I mean, you're going as fast as you possibly can, and you got a guy that's catching you. So in your mind, you're thinking, what else can I do? You know, I'm going as fast as I can, and a lot of times what you can do is watch the guy in front of you, and if he has a couple of better lines, you can pick up on those, and then you're right back in the battle. What Stanton's got to do here is just stay as close as he can to LaRocco.
This is the fifth-place man, Brian Swink, who will no doubt exchange words with his teammate, Jimmy Button, when they get back to the pit area after they have collided and Button was knocked out of the race. Swink will have the potential, at least, for a top-5 finish here. He is pretty much unthreatened in that position at the moment, but his teammate's gone to the sidelines.
Well, you know, last week they fined LaRocco $400 for running into his teammate Kodrowski, and this thing that Swink just did looked a whole lot more serious than that, so it'd be interesting to see what the AMA has to say about it.
He may have more than his teammate to talk to as the race officials may be coming by for a word. Here is Kyle Lewis. He is running third, and again, that Nolene Sizzler team having a good day. He's the third member of the team. Brooks has led but gone backwards. Lewis, on the other hand, is holding on to third spot. Meantime, there are rumblings of developments with the factory Yamaha team. A rumor has swept the pits here that perhaps they're going to make a change as early as next week, and Michael Craig may be out of a job. If so, that would open an opportunity for one of these Nolene's guys maybe to move up. Here is Jeremy McGrath, and speaking of moving up, he is doing so despite what appears to be a banner all wrapped up in the rear wheel. It's not going to be a banner day for Jeremy, but that could be a big problem.
Well, what happens a lot of times is that plastic gets into the disc brake and all that heat melts and you have no rear brake for a while, and you need a brake out here.
Well, he needs a brake to catch somebody here because he had the first moto crash. He's had the off-course excursion here in the second moto, and points do matter. He's a factory Honda rider, but he is behind John Dowd in the championship standings coming into the race and missed an opportunity to close on Dowd in the first moto when he crashed. But now remember, Dowd was involved in a first turn tangle here today, so Jeremy is in front of him on the racetrack and in position to close up, and now Swink is off the racetrack. Swink has crashed, picked it back up, fired it back up, and heads back into battle. Tough day for Team Suzuki. And as we go back up and catch up with the leader, Michael Rocco, I want to ask you more about that issue of pace. When you run a track as tough as Unadilla and you get deep into the second moto, picking up that half a second you talked about, that's got to be a physical demand.
Well, I can remember being on this track in 1983 during a Grand Prix, and a fellow named Brian Myerscough caught and passed me, and if I didn't pass him back, he would win the overall. And I just couldn't do anything about it to change my pace. I mean, I was going as fast as I could, like we already talked about, But, I mean, it takes so much more energy to go that much faster. You're hitting bumps at a different angle and speed. The berms come up quicker. I mean, it throws your timing all off. And if you're not capable of running it, somebody catches you going faster, you can't make the adjustment. It's that simple.
Here is McGrath. We check in with him as he closes on Brooks. And this is the race for 5th and 6th. Jeremy's come from a long way down to the delight of this big Unadilla crowd to get himself into a top 5 position battle. And Brooks is the sitting duck for this one. I think, again, it's that old story of who's running what pace. The pace of McGrath has brought him through a lot of traffic, and up to Larry Brooks, it seems inevitable that he's going to be able to go on by and take over that position. Although, again, the opposite is that when a guy shows you the wheel, he can kind of give you that little poke in the tail end that says, hey, I got to get going here, and you pick up your own pace.
Sure. Sometimes you can make that adjustment. It just depends on how bad you want it and what kind of a pace you've been running to that point. Sometimes you're running along, and it takes somebody to get you motivated. Sometimes it takes your mechanic, or all of a sudden somebody crashes in front of you and you realize, hey, maybe I can get up and catch the leader and win this thing instead of finishing 3rd or 4th.
It's a moto number 2 at Unadilla Valley Sports Center. Nobody's going home. They're all hanging around to enjoy not only the race action on the track as McGrath continues his assault on Brooks, but also the party that it starts about Wednesday here and continues to a week from Thursday. These people know how to have fun. And there you see Jeremy having, well, I guess as much fun as he's had all day, passing to get into the top 5. Hadn't been a great day for McGrath. The factory guys don't like to lose positions to privateers, so McGrath will take that position very late in the race, and I expect that's about as far as he can go now. There's no more opportunity.
Well, judging from the pace he's running, I think that's all he's going to get, and he took his time getting around. I mean, he has no motivation, so I guess it's understandable.
Yeah, there's not much more he can do because the gap up to 3rd place is insurmountable at this point. About to head into the last lap with Mike LaRocco. It has been his day. It is the turning point in terms of the championship. You don't like to see the title turn on a broken bone, but that is exactly what happened here today. The race began, or actually the racing day began, with a practice incident in which a rock slammed the ring finger on the throttle hand of Mike Kudrowski, shattered the bone, and eliminated his hopes not only of racing today, but of racing again in 1994, it appears. So the injury to Kudrowski will leave LaRocco with the championship, barring something untoward happening to him in the final half-dozen races. He turns for home now, sort of threading his way through the lappers, counting the points, and probably encouraging Dad to go home and reread that clause in the contract that specifies exactly how much the championship bonus is. Mike LaRocco wins it over Jeff Stanton, Jeremy McGrath, Kyle Lewis, and Larry Brooks. We'll take a look at the rest of your top 10 here today. Okawara and Austin are the new names there.
Except for the heat, and I know the energy expounded, it looked like another ride in the park.
Yeah, actually, it was just fun out there. I went out there and got a decent start, so, I made the passes I had to make, raced with Jeff a little bit, and, I got in the lead and just had a little fun.
With your main rival out, what do you really have to focus on? You have to kick yourself once in a while because you're so dominant out there, Mike.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to go out there and ride, like I've been riding. It's what got me here, and, I like being here. So I just do what I've been doing, and, hopefully things go, I got some luck, and I can stay doing it.
Of course, you never can get enough points. You found that out in 125.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get a 3-race lead this year. Hopefully I'll have enough points to save any bad luck I might have.
As you look at the overall results, a reference there to the 125 championship that LaRocco lost to mechanical difficulties. We'll hear next from Jeff Stanton, his final appearance here at Unadilla in the waning days of his career.
Jeff, I guess now's an opportune time to discuss how a race like this, how 2 races, how a hot afternoon, and how giving it your all just drains someone physically.
Yeah, it is. Especially, myself, I've done it for so long, and I've just got my system drained so much. I basically burnt my bridge down, and it's pretty much hard as heck to build it back up. So unfortunately that has happened to me, and I didn't let it happen, but unfortunately it happened to me. My bridge just got burnt down, and I just have no reserve, and that's probably another reason why I'm stepping away, because I just feel comfortable at the weight I'm at and the things I've done in my life, and I want to do other things. I want to be a runner and a bicycler. So, and I just unfortunately it happens to me. I just expand all my energy and have nothing left.
I don't know if many people realize that when an athlete calls on his body to do something, it's a natural thing to react, regardless of what kind of condition you're in.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's your natural instinct, and, you know, I'm not a quitter, so I'll just keep going and going and going, you know, until probably, unfortunately, I'll fall down. But, you know, I was gifted to have that throughout my career, and I was glad to hang on for a second. You know, it meant a lot to me today, you know, regarding Kostrowski not here, but I was up there and leading for a while, and it felt decent.
2 great rides, Jeff.
Thank you.
Been a great career for Jeff Stanton and a good run here today. He's not a factor in the points. Kostrowski out of it after today. LaRocco will run away with the championship. Here's your top 3. Dead center. LaRocco continues to lead. Stanton and Swink share the honors. Quick final thought, David Bailey.
Well, I think it was a great ride from Jeff Stanton, and it's the first time he's seen the lead in both motos in a long time, and possibly we can, you know, witness him winning his last national before he completely retires. I'd sure like to see it.
Well, it's certainly going to be his motivation for LaRocco. Number 7, it's just checker after checker with the check for the championship still ahead. I'm Dave Despain for Art Ekman and David Bailey. We'll see you next week.